Hey, this is Scott from Drumlander Requisites. I'm back again after a long time, almost a whole year, of not checking in. But I've been working steadily, and here is one that I recently finished just a couple days ago. This is a Korbanth DV6, the first generation. It came to me totally stock. And I just did all the mods that I could, that I was capable of doing with, the means that I have. I only have a Dremel and a few other really small tools, so I can't make it quite as accurate as I would have liked to, but this is the best I can do with my means. Okay, so anyways, start at the top for the exterior mods. This top screw, originally it's just a little step up, so I ground that off and actually threaded it for a different size screw to be on top. It's over there. And on the inside, that feeds through to a hex bolt there, with a little washer behind it, which is, there we go, which is how that's how the actual prop is. Moving down to the shoulder, this step part. For the accuracy, for the weathering rather, I did only what I saw in the pictures. Of course, like every scratch and every nick is intentional, and it's based off of something that I saw in the picture, something that I thought was present. And I'm not an expert decoder, but I found some. Not I found some, but there are some really good pictures of this hilt, just on the internet. So reference-wise, you have a lot to work with. Maybe not a lot, but you have a decent amount to work with. For the shoulder, I didn't have to do much changing to it. I made it sit a little higher so that the S-curve there, which isn't super accurate because it's based on a 2.1, I believe, Graphics. The DV6 kit, the first gen, is based off the second gen of the Graphics. So the S-curve isn't perfect, but to get that to match up kind of more how the prop kind of looks, to get that corner there, I just set it a little higher than it wanted to be originally. And also, it's a real wonky hilt. They just kind of threw it together. Obviously, it's meant to be a stunt. They never imagined that people would be looking at it, I'm sure. But it's not lined up. The shoulder here is, the whole thing's canted a little bit to the right. Compared to the double ball latch and the D-ring, whatever you call this. This is the whole thing's twisted to the right a little bit. So I did that. These holes are filled in a little bit. It's hard to get my stupid camera to focus on it with this lighting. There you go. You can see that they're filled in with just some black V6000. And from what I could see in the pictures, these back ones they might be filled in, but not as fully as the front. So I left those blank. As for the screw here, originally it's a 1032 Oh, I think I actually have it right here. Where'd it go? It's this one, which is a 1032, and it's not accurately hex knurled. It's just got one-way knurling. And 1032 it looks too thick. No matter what you do for the original prop, it's like a much thinner, maybe like a six width. So I just found a different hex screw, and it did have a shoulder like this one does. But again, on this particular one, this is right for MPP, but this for the DV6, there's no shoulder on it. So I just ground that off as clean as I could. It doesn't look, from what I could tell, it kind of looks like they might have ground it off. It's kind of a little bit blobby. It's not like a perfectly machined, spherical tube. Anyways. And also, I saw that it looked like there were only about 3 knurls high, so I ground the back side of this a little bit too. And it's also off to the side compared to the shoulder itself. It's also not put in perfectly straight. So I recreated that too. And so here's the double ball catch. I used just a standard one that I could find that was rounded, and it didn't have the front or the side edges either. So I used just fillers and stuff, and made it look a little bit better, a little closer to the real thing. And so here's the underneath. One of the things that I noticed, or not that I noticed, but the photos on the line clearly show, is there's another hole here which didn't exist before originally. So I just like, obviously for another one of these, but they just didn't. I'm not sure if it has a hex screw underneath it or what, but I just left it open. You can see the innards underneath there, just a little 3D effect. But then for this Graflex shell top, I really kind of tried to scratch it up as much as I could in every direction, really, so that you get a nice even, not luster, but like it seems like they polished it to me. Some people say chrome tape, but the way it's worn and everything and pitted, like I just feel like it's just simply polished Graflex top. So that's what I did, and I think it turned out pretty accurately. Again, every like pit and scratch here, it seems like they used a vise to just like grab onto it while they drilled into it and everything. So I recreated those. Again, just as best as I could. It's hard to decide what to focus on and what to omit from something like this, scratch and dent wise. But I tried to do as much as I could. Yeah. So next we have the clamp area with the activation box, control box, whatever. And that, again, I didn't do really anything to this part other than kind of scratching the sides because it's weathered, the corners. But on the top here, the first of all, the box is real canted to the left, and I'm not sure what exactly they did, but on the real prop, it's a Graflex base that they started with. So this is a little half mil or whatever it is black tube that goes over the Graflex shell. but when they were putting it on, they like messed up this part. It like didn't want to work well with the pressure they were putting on it or something. Maybe it like something knocked it and it pushed this part up, but it seems like it peeled up like a Coke can there on this side, and it's not closed on the top either. So I sanded it down and filed it down just kind of by hand to get it to about where the step here and here would meet, because that's supposed to be the same. If you get the sheen on it like that, it's supposed to be like that. It's supposed to look similar. But again, in some other photos, in some photos you can really see what looks like a definite line there between the top and the clamp area, but it might be just like a shadow or something. But again, that's the best that I could do with tools and everything that I have. But I think it worked out pretty well. So and there's a hole that goes down in there, and if you actually look into it, you can see it goes all the way through. So that's activation and auxiliary. And as for the grips, they were the A New Hope grips that they stuck back onto the Empire Strikes Back Graflex stunt, is the theory. So for Hoth, they were having trouble getting the T-track to stick on, so they would, use little screws, little tiny screws, to hold the T-tracks on, like one on each side diagonally. So those were still present in some of the pictures, and what really helped me get a lock on where they were was Battlefront 2, the video game, obviously. I was able to get Darth Vader to, just look at the stances. You don't have to even, have the stance to view it like that with the camera moving around however you want. So I was able to get it to where you could actually see those two and those three pretty clearly. And I think that's just about the only ones that show, based on Empire Strikes Back having 6 grips and A New Hope having 7 grips. So they don't cover out completely where the holes were. Some are showing. And they're not perfectly the same length or anything. I kind of did it kind of wonky because that's how it looked to me. And that's been recently confirmed on Facebook. I just saw the other day that the new accurate way to do it is to have, fairly wonky grips. But I had already done these maybe 6 months or a year ago at this point. But yeah, anyways, and these are also make good sound vents holes. Helps with that. So okay, and then the pommel would be just a Wanawanga, standard Wanawanga Cobalt with real rivets in there holding it in. So the sound doesn't come out of these two holes, but it is. I put epoxy but on the original Korbanth end plate, the butt plate with the sound vents. So, and I also cut a big hole for sound to come out. So sound does come out that end and this end. And also the holes here that sound a lot. So it's pretty loud. And that's about it externally. Oh, the blade plug is maybe one of the last things. It looked like they, when turning it into the DV6, whenever it was that they actually did that. I mean, whenever it was that it ended up looking how we know it today, you know, it's like final form. The base was the ESB stunt, which had the rod going into it, the dueling rod that they would actually fight with, and then that would be rotoscoped over in editing. It looks like they just took clippers and kind of got in there as best they could, and kind of diagonally and pretty wonky, kind of clipped it off. So I just ground it down diagonally a little bit like that. Kind of a little edge, not too sharp or anything, but just to kind of replicate that. And again, they just filled the whole thing with epoxy, which is what I was getting after talking about the pommel. The whole thing was solid, maybe not solid, but they packed it in with what looked like, to me in the pictures, again, just white epoxy like this. Not necessarily a flat, ventless, like piece of metal disc, you know? So, same thing for here, the front, the top. So, I just got an aluminum disc and put that in between the blade plug and the rod part, and that worked out really well. Made a little cutout there for the nut so that you can get it out without scratching it out any more than it already is, because it's supposed to be a little bit scratched. In the pictures it shows it's not unscratched in the photos, but anyways, that lets you take it out. And one other mod that I did, this is since this is not a what's it called, set screw for the retention screw rather anymore, this is just faux. This is only held in with E6000 a little bit, and that's intentional, so that I didn't want to use anything like more solid, because that's what's gonna take any impact if it like rolls or like, you know, drops a tiny bit. That's what's gonna take the hit. And since it's a 1032 hole, but the actual screw is a lot thinner, I didn't want it to move in there and break and crack and crumble and all that. So it's just E6000. It moves a tiny bit. It shouldn't come out at all. You can tug on it a little, not, you know, real firmly, but you can, you know, tug it on a tiny bit. It should be fine. It doesn't real twist or anything. I wouldn't twist it just because the glue is set. It should still hold in there. You can rip it out if you really want to and stick it back in, however, but that was originally the set screw in the design that goes all the way through to, or the retention screw that goes all the way through to the blade, as well as this. But when I got it, so one mod I did to the glass eye bike valve, or whatever it actually is in real life. One thing I noticed is that it doesn't quite exactly sit into the hole that's there for the glass eye to be in there. Sorry about the focus; it keeps messing with me. So it's actually higher up. You can see a little, like a crescent of where it's not matching up perfectly. And it sticks out a fair ways, so it's pretty accurate too. I did make it so that when I opened up the hole a little bit, that direction, towards the top, so that if you don't have a blade in there and you screw it in, it doesn't catch on anything. But it does stick out a fair ways. Not quite as far as when you have a blade in, but it does stick out a fair ways on the prop too. But this is now just the only retention screw. So you just left and right, you know, like totally normal. Finger tight, and it doesn't have knurling. not again, but this one doesn't have knurling, so you don't really have to worry about accidentally like gorilla tightening it too much, to where it like gets frozen or stuck. But in the same vein, if you do, then it's a little bit tougher to get it undone. So it's just, this is a shelf queen anyways. It's not really designed originally to take a huge amount of dueling. This particular one is a shelf queen for sure. Just trying to think if there's anything else. Let me just get it turned on then. Yeah. So just like normal, you just unscrew the bottom. That comes out. And this is a Goth 3D DV6 master chassis, of course, DV6, duh. But it wasn't designed like he finished the design. It already existed when before Crystal Focus 10 was a thing. So it's made for Profi / Prism, and that made me not be able to utilize the back door that feature, the sliding door here feature on the back, quite as much as I would want to, but the front still looks great to me. I added, it was just a stock Korbanth 2.0 clamp card underneath the crystal, because in my headcanon, the way that Vader comes about getting the saber would be he finds it in, or whoever finds it in Bespin, all broken at the bottom of the shaft, right? And he rebuilt it into this, right? So it's a hidden piece, and it's no one else would really have to know about it, you know, no one would ask him about it necessarily, and even if they did, it wouldn't like mean anything to anyone else. It's kind of just like a secret tie-in to his son, or his duel with his son at least. With a little bit of little extra metal pieces thrown in there. But it's brass on the left. God, it's not showing up. It's brass on the left with brass rods, and it's actually copper on the right. It looks very similar on camera, but in person you can tell. It's a little bit more red. Anyways, here's the recharge for it. Here's the kill switch. So to get to the card, you take this out instead of just sliding it all the way up and then having access, because the Crystal Focus is different size and shape and everything. That's how you get access to everything. You just take it all the way off, and then you can get in there with a USB that I'll provide, and the card is just right on top too, the SD card. So that makes it easy to get in there. And then when you put it back, this just slides back into that piece and will stay there while the bottom is on. So let me turn it on for you. So there's one Neopixel at each end of the crystal, which makes it fairly bright. I have a pretty bright LED light right here, and it's showing up nicely. It is Crystal Focus 10 with smooth swing, so But it does sound much better with the bottom on. So let me put that on for you. Super smooth threads too. Twist it all the way on, and it'll stop at the right spot, right in between. So for the blade plug, the original one doesn't really lend itself to Neopixel, in that the original idea is it's just a you know, like a tube, duh. And the LEDs that would be in the in-held LEDs would be shining out and illuminate the outside of the tube, while this gets just threaded into a big solid black metal piece that takes up maybe half the entire blade plug. And that's in the middle. So you just have this little ring around the outside, which was fine, but for Neopixels, or I guess it would be the same, but I guess the problem was more the top piece here. Yeah, I don't know what I'm talking about. The problem I was having was having this piece to be accurate would have to be here, but its existence would block the light from coming out, because it's, in order to have it look anything close to, you know, closed off like that, especially not in direct light, it looks pretty close to how the prop looks. Anyways, so I just cut a tiny bit higher than you would normally do it, the blade plug, I mean, lengthwise. So it just sits up a tiny bit, and you can see the red a little bit come through there. And what's, oh, that's right. So what's, to make it more accurate, you can undo this and push this down like all the way. And that lets a lot less light out of it. I'll show you like the problem that I was describing. See, you can't really see. It does exist real faintly, but you really can't see. It doesn't really let any light out. So if you just kind of not let it be on top necessarily, but like just push down a little bit on the pogo pins, because you don't have to worry about like the blade wobbling around and you know, messing with the connection there. So it lets the light out a lot better there. And it's raised a tiny bit just to let you see it. From the top, it's not really any different. And I left the aluminum there to kind of reflect as much light as it could, so it wouldn't be black if it was like that, you know, because that's the only light that's actually coming out. So it kind of reflects out, and it looks better in person than on camera. But that's the blade plug, and that is just about everything about this. I'm gonna, yeah, and that's just about everything that I wanted to say. I'll get it shipped out to its owner as soon as possible, next couple days. But yeah, there it is. Thanks for watching.